from the streets, for the streets, fighting for a better way of life. Welcome to I-Ching Tao Temple. And this is a master class in the Melaninated fist and Taonomics. I am Professor R.T. Bates, Seafood and ordained Cannabis clergy. Yes, this is an introduction to the art and science of Melaninated. E or I see DNA, T, I-Ching, or I-Ching, Book of Changes, or Classic of Change, Deep Neural Access, Time Achievement, or GungFu. We say Afro-Asiatic because my culture is Afroi. I'll have to explain that pronunciation. And what I teach is called Asiatic. Cannabis culture. The culture is based on cannabis, both hemp and Mari-HuAna, as we say. There is a word for it. It's called CannaMimetic EndoCannbinology, which means soon I will be certifying consultant instructors in this science. And what that means is doing things like QiGong or breathing and Tai Chi, etc., with the use of medical and spiritual cannabis. I will also be introducing a system that I call Taonomics on this video, but I have 6 systems that I have created, and in all those systems I will be certifying consultant instructors. The whole idea is free drum. I say free drum because they use the word free dumb. I don't want to be dumb to being free. Free drum means I can drum whatever time I want to. This is the mellow fist. Magu Zian Sho, Divine Mari-HuAna, brings immortality. Mellow fist or melon. Let me move y'all around a little bit here. So I wanted to make this video to introduce myself and to introduce my systems, my GungFu. Well, on this video I want to introduce my GungFu system and my wealth building system, and they will both be certification programs. But on this video, I have a special offer at the end. But what I want to do, I want to introduce myself and give you a little bit of my background, what I did, what I'm doing, where I want to take this whole thing, and then I'll, you know how the infomercials go, but this is in my space. My space. Remembers my space? Well, anyway. This is feng shui. Let me start out by explaining I am not Chinese. The techniques I teach, people say are Chinese. But my culture, well, I'll get into that in a minute. Let's start the video. I tried to do this with with my phone. That didn't work, so I gotta try to do it with this laptop. Okay. First of all, I have to give a shout out to my mom, my grandmother, and my sister, because that's my foundation. That's my mom with the black power fist. We used to go on these boat rides that my grandmother was in this organization. And we used to go on boat rides. We used to do stuff as a family when I was young. That's my brother-in-law right there up in front. And right there, all those people are friends and family. So, but I have to give props to my mom's because she had books which explain what the Tao was. She didn't push it on me. She didn't push anything on me, Christianity, none of that stuff. But I'm going to get into that story probably on my mom's birthday or something like that. But now, let's go over here. I'm going to get into a little bit of my background because, like I said, I have a special offer at the end of the video. So, turn this down a little bit. So, well, let me give you a little bit of background on myself, because you'd be like, who is this person with a toothpick, with one toothpick, giving me an offer that I can't refuse? Well, let me talk about me for a minute. I wrote it down. Well, as I just showed you, my my grandmother. I didn't show you where she was at. She was in the far right-hand corner there. But I started my Muntu, see, in Afro-Asiatic, we say Muntu. Martial is one of their words, you know, and it means Mars. So, but, you know, if you don't say martial arts, people don't know what you're talking about. So I started my Muntu, or martial arts, training at about 5 years old with my grandmother, Maddie Alexander. She learned a style called kicking and knocking down in South Carolina as a child. And as a teen, I started with Shotokan karate. And then I studied 5 animal GungFu with a brother-in-law. This is back when I was a teenager, back in the 70s. And then I joined, you know, after the gangs and everything were broken up and all that, I joined the Marine Corps, and I learned like hand-to-hand combat and knife fighting, because even though I was a little guy, I was stationed with what's called recon. You know, those are guys, they take 5 guys and put them in the middle of a bunch of enemy people, and they kill everybody. So they taught me a thing or two. So I learned that from them, and then in 81, I'm skipping a year after I got out. In 81, I started Wu style Tai Chi. I'm gonna go through the stuff here. And I started Wu style Tai Chi with Grandmaster Leong Chum. He's actually the Grand Master of Eagle Claw Kung Fu. They say Gong Fu because he's from Canton. So they just say Gong Fu as opposed to Kung Fu. Then in 1990, I started teaching. First in the Bronx, Brother Lamar Dozier, who is a student of Lamar Thornton, who is the Shotokan teacher of Wesley Snipes, brought me into his school, the Tao School of Shotokan Karate up in the Bronx. And it wasn't going too well, so he brought me down to Lamar Thornton down in Harlem, and Lamar Thornton brought me into the Harlem YMCA with people like Malcolm X and, you know, all these famous people, Castro and all these, you know, those people stayed at. So he brought me in there, and because at that time Tai Chi was like a really big thing, and actually his best friend, who just passed a couple of years ago, Master Musawaya, was like the Grand Master of Tai Chi in Harlem. So he was kind of pissed because some of his students started coming over to me, because I was teaching like real Tai Chi, and he had mixed like karate and Tai Chi, and the older people were, they was like, it's like a little too much, so they came over to me. So anyway, so that's Harlem was my place of birth. I was born in Harlem Hospital, right up the block from the YMCA. So all this was like, wow, coming back home type of thing. So later I started playing with the idea of developing my own system. And that goes back to, of course, Bruce Lee. I'm a Bruce Lee era baby, and not so much that I'm a big, giant fan. I am, but I'm not like that. But the idea that he put boxing with so-called Oriental GungFu was what sparked my system today. So, I've developed my own system, and it's, from the beginning, I've always been wanting to incorporate the Mari-HuAna. But I kind of left it alone until I moved back out here in California, because in New York it's like, this is really illegal and it's a drug, and everybody's on the corner, yo, I got a nickel bag, dude. So I moved back to California, and that was about 7 years ago. And that's when I really got serious about it, because when I got out here, and marijuana was like, oh man, the cops don't. He's like, it's getting ready to be legal in a second, and it was no problem. So I kind of changed my mind, because I came out here, I'm saying I'm gonna stop smoking this drug and start my church, da-da-da-da-da. And then I got out here, man, I forgot. Everything is like closed-minded. The city is just like being in jail mentally. You walking around, there's nothing but big square buildings, everything is gray, da-da-da-da-da. So that's the mentality I came out here. Then when you get out here, you see mountains and open space, and there's a whole different mindset. So I took my basic Tai Chi form and made changes to it, or actually I would say I advanced it, or expanded it. The first thing I had to include was my street boxing. Now, when I say I added boxing to the Tai Chi is like it was really formal, you're learning this Chinese movement and the way they move and everything. But my street boxing from my gang days was called Jailhouse Rock. This was a boxing system, not sport boxing. This is a boxing system developed in jail. Today they call it 52 blocks, and they trying to formalize it and make it into a real style. And it is a style, you understand? It's our style. It's how we move. It's from our culture, from slavery to jail, from the slave block to the jail block to the cell block to your block. It's always a block. You understand? Blockhead. So, not you. So, I took the Tai Chi and I mixed it together. So the first thing I included was that, and then to have, the original idea was to add boxing so that you would have a faster way to defend yourself, as opposed to traditional Kung Fu or GungFu school, where you learning the super strength of the one finger technique for 20, 40 years, and you're pushing up on this finger. When are you going to learn how to fight? This is the street. You can strengthen your fists pretty fast, and you can learn how to punch pretty quick without having to do all the eagle claw and the palm claw and all that. That takes years and years, and then you got to ask your master, can you open up a school like 20 years later? This system, 10 months, I will certify you. If you still got to do your thing, but in 10 months you should be able to be good with boxing. Well, let me move on, because it's so lastly I discovered this is a whole new science now. It's not just GungFu anymore. So, just recently, well, not recently, I discovered that my form is based on the 64 hexagrams of the I-Ching. If you don't know about it, look it up. I-Ching. It looks like it's spelled I-Ching. And dead prayers, they say I-Ching, but it's pronounced in Chinese I-Ching. Look it up. So there are 64 hexagrams. I'm getting ready to go through all that. And I made my form based on those 64 hexagrams. Now I found that each of those 64 hexagrams is in alignment with a codon in the DNA. So you have 64 codons in DNA, and you have 64 movements in my form. So there are books out on this, but nobody, as far as I know, have made a physical form, a physical exercise that's in alignment with the science and with the I-Ching. So that's basically what I'm talking about. This is some new age stuff. So we're going to do music. They got people that's trying to put the different tones with each of the 64 movements, and then you got the Kabbalah, which is said to be encoded on all of the codons in the DNA. So deep shit. All right, so let me go over some of this stuff that I just talked about myself. I'm not talking about me. I'm conceited. So there I go. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. Oh, and I wanted to show, I put up this picture because I wanted to show after 40 years, they're finally starting a lawsuit. I was stationed at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. So they're starting a lawsuit after 40 years, which is the reason my teeth broke off. They didn't rot out. I still have the teeth. They just under the gums. And that comes from the poisoning that they put in the water down at Camp Lejeune, where I was stationed for my basic training, and I came back for a year when I came back from Okinawa. So this is where I work, where I'm holding the 45 there. I was security for the armory, but I also ordered the weapons about 2 years before the war started. I'm talking about the Iraq-Iran war, whatever that was, when Bush came in. When Bush came in, I got out. And this patch over here, I used to work for a company called Aeroflex. And I'm the guy, that camera up there is a $72,000 movie camera. Aeroflex is basically a movie company. They make lights and shit. I worked for them up in New York, German company. I sent that camera to the space shuttle where the brother McNair was on. See the space shuttle? That's why I got the patch. And that's happened to be the space shuttle that they blew up. Yeah, that's like history. So I got an honorable discharge from the Marine Corps. I got my GED like a month before I got out. I used to dance. This is one of the, this is a ticket where I danced at my old high school in Harlem. I was, we did jazz, I almost was doing ballet. We didn't do ballet. I didn't do ballet. That was the worst experience of my life because my mother was there and that was bad. So I have, a certificate. Well, that's kind of old. I got to do that over again, CPR. And the family actually made that, they copyrighted. You can't do the Heimlich maneuver because the family copyrighted the Heimlich. How the fuck? Well, anyway, this is my teacher, Grandmaster Leon Shum. And this is Ying Jiao Pai down in Georgia, actually. I studied with him in New York. And then I moved to Georgia, and one of my classmates had a class or had a workshop down in Georgia, and the Grandmaster came down there, and I helped him, do the workshop. So that's what that picture is. And after I learned from him, then that's when I started teaching. So my first flyer, like I said, Lamar, I apologize, Richard Dozier, he brought me into his school, which was like cross town from me in the Bronx. And this was my first flyer, and I used a picture of my teacher from his book. And then this was from my first exhibition down in Harlem, with Lamar Thornton and everybody down in Harlem, And like I said, Lamar Thornton is one of Wesley Snipes' teacher. If you ever looked at that special with Wesley Snipes, where he goes into where he had all the grandmasters on stage, and then the brother that gave him his 3rd degree black belt that night was Lamar Thornton. So here's where I was teaching the children down in Harlem at the El Community Center after school program. And then from there, somebody seen me teaching, and so they gave me a job teaching the summer program at the National Collegiate Athletic Association. And this is a Tai Chi tournament that I, was the judge in. And this was another one where I was the judge, but I also did a master's demonstration at this tournament. And this one, was this one? Yeah, this one is at the Borough of Manhattan Community College. And a couple of big Kung Fu magazines at the time, they did stories on me and my Kung Fu brother, Sifu Ben Hill Bay. So that's all I have left of those. Let's move back down here. So before I left New York, I did another after school, this actually is a summer program that I did with the children before I moved to Virginia. And I don't have anything from Virginia, but then I moved down to Georgia and actually trained in Olympic boxing while I was teaching the youth Olympic boxing team, breathing and all that stuff. I met Coach Samaj Floyd, and he taught me a little bit about Olympic boxing, and he was actually the coach for Evander Holyfield for his Olympic trials down there in Georgia. And this was the flyer. So this was the second YMCA where Coach Samaj Floyd brought me in, and I give that special mention because that YMCA, now the other YMCA is where like Malcolm X and Langston Hughes and all these famous Harlem people went in the Renaissance. But this YMCA is right down the block from Martin Luther King's church and all that stuff, the Martin Luther King Center where I taught again. But that's like another famous YMCA. Down there is really cliquish. If you went to this hospital and this YMCA, you're like. So this is from the last paying job that I had teaching Tai Chi. And it's kind of like full circle because this is back at the Borough of Manhattan Community College where I taught the teachers for 8 weeks and made, what did I make? Like $700 something. And that was the last time I worked for somebody. And then my teeth started breaking off, so I kind of retired. Now this is me. So this is the other side of my temple. This is me at this is when I studied at the ancient Egyptian order. So don't tell nobody about this picture because I wasn't supposed to take this picture in the temple, but I was living there. I like, man, I'm taking a picture. I don't remember this stuff. You understand? You won't see this temple nowhere else. So, this is basically, my symbols. I created this symbol, the ankh with the with the plant on it, and the ankh is separated into yin and yang, and we're gonna get into the 8 trigrams, and then I created this for I-Ching Tao Temple and the GungFu that I've created, and this I have to do over. It's not actually mine, but I'm gonna do a similar symbol for the dynamics. So this down here is just a picture of me, and that's the land out there where the school is gonna be. Now I'm gonna talk about later on. We're gonna be growing hemp, and I'm gonna talk about all the things that hemp can do for us. Okay, so like I said, I have created my own GungFu system and my own wealth builder system. Those are 2 systems I'm going to talk about on this video. And that's Sifu MC ME up there at Leimert Park, which we renamed Africa Town. Now Sifu MC is more like the ambassador. He goes out and he wins tournaments and all that good stuff, and he brings back the medals and stuff back to the temple. So this one I am particularly that one right there. I have the pictures and stuff. We were together. And that one is particularly outstanding to me because, as I said, the concept for my system, combining boxing with Chinese martial arts, or in my case, Tai Chi, I get the basic concept from Bruce Lee. And that medal right there, MC Sifu won that using our iron pipe technique at the same tournament, the Long Beach Nationals, where Bruce Lee was discovered. So that's kind of special to me too. So that's all about me and my background. So let's go over here. So, first and foremost, I want to say that even though I'm teaching what you might call Chinese stuff, Kung Fu and stuff, it's like black people is into Chinese stuff. Y'all eat Chinese food. Well, secret, you shouldn't eat that stuff. Y'all eat Chinese food. You like Kung Fu movies. You got brothers sometimes walking around with Chinese clothes on. People used to try to wear Bruce Lee hair. See, I'm not teaching all that. I'm teaching techniques that's from that area. And most of them were created way before somebody was called Chinese. But that's part of my schooling, is to learn the real deal behind this. The Shang dynasty were people that look like me. Woolly hair, nose, dark skin, lips. And they are the ones who started the culture. But I wanted to come over here because I wanted to show that the culture that I study or that I practice is my culture. And the spirituality, if you will, is ancient Egyptian, but I'm not pushing, let's dress like ancient Egyptian, let's go back to ancient Egypt. I just use that spirituality. You know, Africa has, what you call Africa has all kinds of things that we can take from. Like this is a West African drum. My bloodline is from Angola. My grandmother was Geechee Gula. Her mother was Gula. She was Geechee because she moved off the islands. And the people who moved off the islands was called Geechee. Da-da-da-da-da. So I know where my bloodline is from. You understand? But that's just half of my bloodline, because the other half of my bloodline was us that was already here in America. And today they're called the Washita. I was made a chief, but that's a whole nother story. We're going to get into that another time. So I just wanted to show that part, that I deal with my peoples, because I'm not praying to Chinese deities and gods, you understand? Because even if they are real, Chinese deities and spirits don't have no reason to, it ain't about hate, they don't have no reason to do nothing for a black person. You have to go to your ancestors, to the things that we did in the past. You know, understand? That's why everything is fucked up now. Everybody just don't do nothing. You don't even, you ask for stuff from God, but what do you do for it? Duh, duh. So this is my little office area, and I'm just mentioning that because in the science they call feng shui, your office face the north, like this is, or actually that is the north direction, so that energy that's coming this way is business energy, it's good for organization and stuff like that. So what I'm talking about, one of the things I'm talking about tonight is actually certifying people in my system of GungFu. It is my system. There's nobody on earth, nobody, zip zero nada, that has this system. It's new, and it's real Kung Fu. It's not like I made up some new shit and I'm calling it, or I took a style that was already there. Because I know people who did that. They take some karate and then call it some African names, and it is still karate. No, this is my style. If you get certified, you'll be one of the only ones on earth that know this system. And it's no joke, believe me. But anyway, I just wanted to show my tools. So there go my tools right there. If I do a demonstration and stuff, you know, I wear this. You understand? My sash and my Kung Fu, because people like you to get dressed up. You know, they like you to look all Kung Fu-ish and stuff. And that's it. I don't need no other stinking tools, man. I don't need screwdrivers. I don't need machines. And you don't even need a license as long as you're not putting your hands on somebody and putting chemicals in their hair or whatever. You don't need a license to teach. And you can get insurance to pay you instead of try to get poor people to pay you money. Get them to get an insurance that pays for alternative medicine and get stupid paid. Like, for real, for real. I've been doing this 40 years. This is not a joke. So, I'm gonna come back to the form. Let me go. So I set up this board here to try to, or not to try, to give an explanation of the some of the different aspects of what this new GungFu entails, because it's not just a martial arts system anymore. It's actually a science. No, I'm talking about real science. You have to be, well, you don't have to do anything, but if you want to work your mind and your body, this is that GungFu. So what's the foundation? The foundation is cannabis. It is not like drunken style, like I said earlier, where you smoke and do kung fu like you act like you drunk. It is the spiritual or self-realization foundation of the system. So there are two sides, just like there are yin and yang. Oh, over here. Yin and yang. You have hemp and you have marijuana. Marijuana is considered the female. Hemp, this is difficult. Hemp is considered the male. The hemp plant is, we're going to talk about that in a minute. The most controversy I'm getting is from people is because I combine the marijuana with doing GungFu and all that. And I'm telling you, they already have a science. They already have a name for it. It's called, again, CannaMimetic, which means you smoking cannabis and you moving your butt. CannaMimetic EndoCannbinology. I have books on it. But anyway, so the first thing, the first foundation, and what I love about the Tao is really simple. We start out with yin and yang. Everything starts out with, well, actually, they start out with what's called Wu Chi, but we're not going to get into that. So we start out with yin and yang, and then we have the 5 elements. The 5 elements is how yin changes into yang, and yang, or yang, changes into yin. So saying elements is kind of a misnomer. It actually should be called the 5 phases. So there are 5 phases of yin changing into yang, and yang changing into yin. And all of those changes, they've matched it up with nature, with the energy, how it flows in your body. Like this diagram right here shows you how from fire, bitter, which is the heart energy, it goes to sweet, which is earth, which is the pancreas and stomach, to metal, which is the lungs, which is spicy. And if you wanna prove this, if you have mucus in your lungs, eat you some spicy, really hot peppers or something when you got mucus in your lungs, and see what happens. All that garbage will come out your lungs. So that's spicy for the lungs, and it's the metal. And salty is for the kidneys. And lastly, wood is sour, and it's for the liver. Now, we have to heal ourselves, we have to know the position of where the organ's at. All these colors right here, you actually have to visualize, like the liver is green, the stomach, pancreas is yellow, etc. You have to know the sound that goes with the organ to detoxify it. This is not just humming all day long and waiting for somebody to come out of a cloud and save you. You got to do work on yourself if you want to achieve something. You can talk all day long. So the last part is the 8 trigrams. Can you see me down here? Let me get you in position. Ooh, anyway. So now the 8 trigrams deals with, well, on a flat plane, if this was laying on the floor, you will be dealing with the 8 directions. South, well, they have north at the bottom because in China, they're kind of opposite of us. So we would put north up here and south down here. But anyway, so you see we have, but they also, see, we know about the 4 directions, which they call news. News is north, east, south, no, north, east, west, and south. But in this, we also count the 4 directions. Now in Tai Chi, we learn the form, and we have to face each direction to absorb the different energies of each direction. So out of the 8 directions, the 9th direction is you at the center. It's called Tai Chi. Tai Chi isn't the Kung Fu. The Kung Fu is named after the concept. So at the center is Tai Chi, again, yin and yang, which would be the 9th, because that would be the pole up and down. Up and down happens at the same time, whereas the 8 directions is coming at you from each direction. So this is the whole concept, this is the whole philosophy throughout what they call Taoism. There ain't no belief and nothing. No belief. This is science, you understand? So what I've done, I have created a system that I'm calling Mel-Om. And that's going to change, but right now, just like Tao, I can't change the word into an African word, because I still got to tell you, if you do research, now you got to look up Tao. So I'm not going to change it. You look up Tao, but it's our stuff anyway. So Mel-Om, I use the word Mel is short for melanin, which is what you call black, which makes you black. Your rhythm, your hair, your nose, your skin color, your lips, everything is because you have a specific type of melanin called melanin, spelled E-U. So, that was my first science. I put that together. And I put that together because I found out that all this Kung Fu, internal Kung Fu specifically, Tai Chi, Bagua, Xing Yi, was about absorbing Qi. So you go to Kung Fu school and they be like, absorb the Qi. And you be like, what the hell is Qi? And now you got to figure out what is Qi. So it took me a long time. I'm studying melanin and I'm studying Tai Chi. And it took me a long time to figure out that this Qi, or prana that they call it in yoga, or Ki that they call it in karate, Japanese, is electro or bioelectromagnetism. That's it. Bioelectromagnetism. Now, when it comes from the sun, is simply electromagnetism. But once we absorb it with our melanin, it becomes bioelectromagnetism, or life force. So now, the exercises that we do in Kung Fu allows you to absorb larger amounts of this bioelectromagnetism. You understand? If your melanin wasn't doing it regularly on a regular basis, you would be dead. And the other thing with that, white people do have a type of melanin. Chinese and Orientals do have a type of melanin. So when black people tell you that they don't have any melanin, they haven't done any study. They don't have the same type of melanin. It's called phenomelanin. So this is why they don't have the same rhythm, So I'm not going to go into that right now. Anyway, so Mel-Om, the science that I've developed, was about us developing our melanin to the highest degree, combining the science of melanin with the practice, with these internal practices of imagining, absorbing, right? So if you go back to ancient Egypt, you will find that the pyramid and the Ankh and all these things was electromagnetic devices that was made for that. But that's a whole nother story right now. So, right here is the Margu saying, because what I'm doing, I'm calling the Margu Ministry. So Margu Ministry means that we are teaching people how to use cannabis, I hate to say correctly, but for medical purposes and for alchemy, for healing and for alchemy. Alchemy means transforming from a physical body to a spiritual body. That's what Tao is all about. The same thing as Jesus. Jesus. So this is my video. We're going to get into that in a minute. It's basically breathing exercises that will show you how to breathe deeper and how to breathe like when you was a child. Breathe correctly, and you'll probably heal most of the stuff that you have problems with, energy and other problems in your lower abdomen and stuff. You'll probably heal all that garbage if you knew how to breathe correctly. What's the first thing in your Bible? God gave man the breath of life. That's the first thing. So what do you... Oh, I know how to breathe. So here, let me read the Margu. The goddess does dwell within the plant. So they say goddess here, but we say divinity. A divinity is the energy of nature. In other words, Margu is the energy of the cannabis plant, not some being that you worship and you bow down to and all that dumb shit. So the deity does dwell within the plant. Terminus, one and the same being. The goddess plant and her transformative properties upon ingestion of the plant as food, smoke, or extracted chemical, there is a mystical union with the princess of cannabis, Margu. In this most sacred and holy state, the devotee can discover the true nature of the world and the true nature of self. So, there's other higher, excuse the pun, there's other higher purposes for using Mari-HuAna. Now, the Mari-HuAna is considered the female side of the plant. The other side of the plant, both sexes grow on the same plant, and you have to separate them later in order for one to become marijuana. The other side of the plant is the hemp. Now, I'm going to get into that later on, the hemp, and I have land, we're going to grow hemp. But the hemp, you're waiting on Jesus and all these other people to say reparations and all that bullshit. Grow hemp. You can make food. You can make clothes. You can make bricks. Everything you can buy with your dollar bills, you can make from one. I didn't say a whole field of thousands and thousands of different types of plants. One plant. You can make all that stuff. And people are doing it. What are you doing, black people? So all these things here are the things you can make. Okay, that's a new one. Hemp meat. I didn't read that one. But hemp shell, hemp oil, hemp cake, hemp fiber, hemp herds, all that. 50,000 products. What else do you need? Look it up. There's a video with Henry Ford. He was the first one, everybody called him crazy. He made a hemp car. He's smashing it with a sledgehammer. It didn't even scratch the paint. So what are you driving? So here I put the 8 elements with the plant, earth, you can't see what I'm talking about. Earth, inspiration here is heaven, that's the cannabis part of the plant, but the other 6 parts are about the hemp. Textiles, food, oil, housing, paper, and fuel. All those things, and that's just those 8, can be made from one plant. Okay, so now let's get into the other side of the Kung Fu. So, actually maybe I'll come back. No, I can't come back to this because I'm going to take this down. This here is the different matching up of the I-Ching, which is actually, which I didn't go into that. The I-Ching actually starts out with those 8 directions that I showed you. So each direction has a binary code or a symbol. This is heaven, this is thunder, da 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 da. And there's only 8, just like there are 8 directions. So these are 8 above and these are 8 below. So when you match one of these with one of these, you get what's called a hexagram, because now you have 6 lines. So again, I'm gonna get into that in a minute. That's what my GungFu system, or this form, is based on. So the biggest, the 2 biggest books that I'm basing it on is the I-Ching by Ra-U-Nefer Amen, because this particular I-Ching goes into the next level, which is the ancient Kemetic or ancient Egyptian stuff. And this is one book I found where a scientist is matching the I-Ching to DNA. So what I took out of that book right here, each one of these is matching up. Well, let me show you this one. This one is, number 43 hexagram, right? Quay. And those are the DNA numbers and all that stuff. So it's matched up, and the number is 998, right? So what I've done is matched up those, and while you're doing the form, you're also concentrating on that particular part of your DNA. So I'm not making this up. Like I showed you earlier, in Tao, we learn to heal ourselves because we have to know the color, the sound, and the location of each of the different organs or sets of organs in the body in order to heal them. You have to know a different sound for each organ, like the lungs is, and the stomach is, and all those different sounds detoxify and strengthen the organs. So I'm like, okay, now that we know this DNA science, we can go deeper within the self. The first thing I thought of is that we can get into the DNA and actually get rid of trauma, because the new science is saying that trauma is deep within the DNA. So you have what's called, what's that trauma they get when you go to the war? When you go to war, they go to war for 1-2 years and they come back and they get PTSD or whatever it's called, and they get all kind of medicines and drugs. So wait a minute, as black people in America, we've been at war for 400 plus years. So where's the trauma medicine for us? You understand? We got to do this ourselves. So that's what this form means to me. It means that I believe that this trauma is the root result of what we call in slave mentality. Because I've seen many master teachers, I've met them, I've sat with them personally, come and go, and still we are worse mentality, slave mentality, than when I was coming up 60 years ago. So what is the problem? It has to be deep down. You understand? And the other side is that everybody think that, waiting for something, or think that the computer or think that money is going to change You know, no, you got to do work. You understand? If you don't do work, you're just going to be part of this whole bullshit that they... So we're going to move from that. Okay, so this is the form I was just saying. This is the form that matches up with that 998. So actually that's where that's at. That's up here. So like this picture is just something I was... But anyway, so you know, I matched it up with the triplet codon number 998, and it actually is the dragon form. There are 12 forms in the whole system that actually match up with the zodiac, with the Chinese zodiac. So that's a whole nother style that came out of the system that I developed. So, like I said, it gets really deep. So I'm getting ready to show you the GungFu, but I actually have developed 6 systems. So the first one I'm putting out is the GungFu, and I'm also going to talk about the Downomics. But I have Mel-Om. Mel-Om is the melanin activation. The art of life I call self-healing alchemy, because, you know, in that system you heal yourself first, or strengthen yourself. But then what is that? After you get healthy, do you just stay healthy, or you just keep trying? No, you move up. You have to transform, change. 5, Ma-Gu-Fu Jiang. Ma-Gu-Fu, I separated the actual cannabis alchemy from the first form, because not everybody smokes. So I made a form that, you know, for people who want to smoke. And then I have Yo-Gong, Zodiac Yoga. That's what I was just talking about. That one dragon form is from the Zodiac Yoga. That is meant to open up your 12 meridians and align you with star systems, so all systems are created or developed by me, Professor R.T. Bates, Sifu, ordained cannabis clergy. Yes, this is a real thing. I'm actually an ordained clergy in cannabis. I actually know some deep shit about the holy herb, I call it. So now let's get into the commercial part. So like I said, I'm going to be promoting making people consultants and consultants and teachers or instructors. All the courses will be 10 months. At first, I'm not ready to do it online yet. I don't know, I might do it in a Zoom type of thing, but I wanted to make training videos. But I have this space that I'm going to start the school at, and people can come live there. And of course, there's going to be a certain price for that. But we'll talk about that later. So right now, this is what I'm talking about. You know, you can learn to start becoming a consultant or a teacher. And you can do like consultations, I-Ching consultation. Because by the time you learn the first form, which is on the wall I'm about to show you, you will know the I-Ching. Because the whole form is based on the I-Ching. So you can do lectures, seminars, workshops, retreats, fundraisers, demonstrations, interviews. Most superhero movies are, you know, martial arts. So you can get into the movie business in stunt work or in choreography, stuff like that. So what I'm teaching, the I-Ching, most people don't know about, or especially a lot of black people don't know about it. But it took 3,000 years before the I-Ching, or the Book of Changes, was revealed to the West. Now you can enhance your life by receiving infallible answers to your questions concerning relationships, business, family, legal issues, career, investments, health, etc. So I took that directly from Rao Nefamen. And this picture is just kind of to represent, because that was my baby. And she got one of the coins we use for the I Ching. That's what she has up into her eye. So, it's just like any other regular business that you take credit cards, all that good shit. Except you will be teaching people how to defend or heal themselves as opposed to just trying to make a dollar off of them, you understand? So, this is the 64 movements of my GungFu. At the top is the original 8 movements, just like I showed you down there, the 8 directions. So what I had to literally change the Tai Chi because the 5 elements, like I just showed you, was in the legs. So I had to put the 8 trigrams in the legs and then have the 8 trigrams was already in the Tai Chi. So now each one of these movements in the form is a direct match to the vibration of one of the hexagrams in the I Ching. You understand? So I didn't make it up. I made it up from those 8 movements. So it's just 8 lower movements and 8 upper movements. All I did was expand the form. So, but by adding boxing, it's not Tai Chi anymore because I'm adding boxing. And it's not boxing anymore because I'm adding Tai Chi. It's a whole new system. And adding the DNA into it just makes it that much more, new. It's a science, not just anything. So over here, we're going to get into the commercial stuff. Now, even before, if you take the course, even before you take the course, you'll be able to have a way to earn some money because I have a video and I'm about to show you my book, so you can start selling these things and actually start building up your clientele even before you're certified. You understand? Now, one of the things commercially, these formulas, these are Chinese herbal formulas, and they are off the hook. I mean, these formulas are for Kung Fu training, GungFu training, you understand? When I first went down to see my doctor down in Chinatown to get one of these formulas made, she took pictures. She's like, where you get this from? Where you get that? So this is not even taught in most Kung Fu schools anymore. This is going to be part of our system, the Kung Fu training formulas. And you'll be able to sell them. You understand? This will be one of the ways that you'll be able to make money. Like this right here, you can buy individual herbs. I sell this, or I used to sell this when I was on the street. This is Chinese licorice. This is more important in China than ginseng. Everybody know about ginseng, but how many people know about licorice? This helps with diabetes. It helps with cleansing out every toxin that's imaginable. How many people know about that? You understand? Why isn't this sold in regular stores? Why you got to go to Chinatown and you have to know the Chinese name? That's what this course is about. This is a system where you can make a career or a business. Here's our first patch that MC Sifu had made. I don't know where you get one patch made, but it's good quality. He had it made, but that's like I wanted to show, like over here, we'll be able to make like a t-shirts and and press out, make our symbols on our shirts and stuff like that. So that, I just had this over here so I could show you that we have machines that we can be making our own, because it's my own system. So I have to make my own uniforms. I have to make my own belts. We're going to be making our own shoes. Our own everything. This is a whole industry. Most people don't even understand how much money is in the martial arts industry. Now think about it. Bruce Lee and all other people that made $1 billion. And they just was acting. Our people need this stuff. Imagine bringing this stuff back to the hood where, you understand? So, this is like, I just wanted to set this up to show like a little store type of thing. So, like I said, I have my own books, but these are different books on I Ching. You understand? I use for different purposes. You understand? And then you have weapons. All the weapons that I incorporated into this system are legal weapons, like the belt. I learned about this. I learned about the belt back in the gang days. You understand? And I got 2 stitches on my chin. That's how I learned about it. Somebody took their belt off and smacked the shit out of me with the buckle. But it's legal. You can walk around this with it. Like, why you got that? It's a belt. What? You understand? Now, I can teach you like how to use a stick. You understand? But you would look kind of ridiculous walking around with a stick all day long. But guess what? I bet you won't look so suspicious if you have a cane in your hand, because a cane you have in your hand all the time. And especially if you're an older person like me, you understand? It's right there. You ain't got to reach inside your shirt for it. What? Knock you out. You understand? So this system, while I have the cane here, would be the mellow fist for senior citizens. Because, see, I'll show them how to not only use the cane for self-defense as an older person, because you don't do big swings and stuff like that, but also how to use the cane for exercise. You understand? So this is the senior citizens' main weapon, but it's one of the 8 weapons, one of the 8 legal weapons that I'll be teaching. At the other end is the book bag, and this is for the youths. If you're in school, or even if you're a teacher in school, the book bag can be used as a shield, and if you have books in it, it can be used as a weapon if you swing it. But it's mostly like to use as a shield, especially if you had. Well, I'm not going to go into my secrets right now. But I also, you learn how to use the book. Use the edges. I can block with the book. I can hit you in the throat. So the book can be a weapon. And then an ordinary pen or pencil. So even in school, you can learn how to have natural or legal weapons. Now, with the stick, go back to the stick. You can learn how to use a stick, but you can use a magazine like a stick. And you can carry this. It's just a magazine. Now, I got rubber bands on it. But this is really, it would really hurt, especially if I'm hitting you in soft spots. You understand? I like these because I'm a drummer. I'm not this type of drummer, actually. I was learning how to use, I showed you the African drum. But, again, I can use these just like, on these sticks. They're short, but these sticks are hard. A fan. This is a fan that has metal. You sharpen these. And you notice most of them have a purpose. Like, the fan in the summertime is cool. Dog chain. You understand? All these are legal to, you can carry any of these in your hand in just about any state that I know of. Now, the weapon that will, or the two weapons that will kind of, be the, what you call that? Like, that's the cannabis GungFu style. My iron pipe. Like I said, well, this is the pipe that I told you that MC Sifu won the Long Beach Nationals with, you understand? So this is like the most unique style ever in the life of ever. Not only because I've combined cannabis with it, but the DNA thing and all that. And then the weapon is like, well, this is another weapon you probably won't be walking around the street, but this is one of our signature weapons, the iron pipe, because it's the style of cannabis. Now this here is the bong. Now I'm not gonna take it off. This is my war bong, but I done ward it out. It done got wore out. As you can see it, I think I kind of like, but it was my first bong that was gifted to me, and I created a weapon, or this is the prototype for a bong weapon. I've got videos down below there where I showed a little bit, I think, of how to use it and stuff. So, that's my bong weapon. So, that back there is like the sign that I had, like, when I was setting up on the beach. And basically, like I said, this is just to show that there are products and things. Like if you became certified, if you took the course and became certified, it's not just about, you don't even have to teach. There are other careers and businesses that you can start as a martial artist or as a Taoist healer. And this stuff is a niche market because these things are not in our neighborhoods. There are no Taoist schools. Well, there might be one, but they're usually like, in the basement somewhere, and you gotta know somebody who knows somebody type shit. There's no big Taoist schools in the hood because people won't spend money. But black people do want to learn this stuff. I've been making a living for a lot of years, but I haven't pushed it like this. You understand? I had to make up my own stuff. So now I don't have to have nobody certify me. I am the originator of this system. So, that being said, let's move on. Oh, I did want to say, since this is a cannabis kung fu, there is another aspect where we get into the hashishin. Now, the hashishin use the knife. So, some places this might be legal, but obviously in most, like New York especially, places like that, it's not. And I will only teach the hashishin, specific people. That comes later. I just wanted to mention it because if you have a cannabis style, you got to get into hashish. I mean, It only makes sense, don't it? So, we've come full circle. I'm back where I started. So, I forgot one more thing. The offer at the end of the video. As I may have mentioned, I have some acreage, and that's where I'm going to open the school at, I-Ching Tao Temple. But this is going to take a while to gather students, So how I plan to build is to offer memberships in what I call Hemp. And Hemp stands for Helping Empower Melanated People. And I'm calling this the Black to the Land movement. One last march to get out. So that's going to come a little later when people are ready to start getting out of these cities. When shit start happening, we're going to have a place to go. But I'm going to explain what hemp is and the memberships. So I'm going to be accepting members. And here's my phone number, 316-992-7000. Now, the first 100 people that join Hemp that want to be in the profit sharing, that's the sign at the bottom, that want to be in the profit sharing, it will be $80 a month. So let me go over just in time because the battery is low. So I wrote all this stuff down so I wouldn't have to try to remember it, but of course I didn't remember where I put the stuff at, so I'm going to have to do it from memory. Now, Hemp, helping empower melanated people. Now, what that is I'm offering memberships in Hemp, and with the money from those memberships, we're going to start a hemp grow. So I have 5 acres of land. 1 acre is going to be for hemp. Another 1 acre is going to be for foods. It's just 5 acres, so this is going to be an example for other people. It's not like, oh, I'm trying to feed the world and feed Africa and all that type of stuff. No, this is a membership thing. We're going to have an acre. It's going to be enough food for our members. The hemp, this is the deal. Those of us, or those of you who join Hemp, helping empower melanated people, the first level is $80 a month. And I got that number because I know people that smoke herb, right? I know you smoke $20 a week at least. If you're a smoker, you smoking $20. That's $80 a month. Okay? Put that into something that's going to do something for you. All right? We're going to grow our own herb too, but we're going to get into that later. So 1 acre of hemp will give us 8,000 pounds of seeds and thousands of pounds of the actual bud. Now, that's as soon as you grow it. It only takes, well, if we start out, say 4 months to grow, that means that we can have at least 4 grows per year. You understand? So, right off the bat, you have the bud, which is smokable bud, as well as CBD oil. I've made my own CBD oil. It's not rocket science. You put the bud in the olive oil and you cook it and you got CBD oil. The thing is that people are charging stupid prices because they have to buy their raw, if they're making it themselves, they have to buy their raw hemp from other people, from China, from Canada, etc. It's just starting to get big in America. And that's the big thing, because it's legal. Hemp is legal all over America. Now, if we're growing our own, that means we can sell our products at a real price. On top of that, the book I just showed you, dealing with Chinese herbal formulas, that's going to be the products that I'm putting out. CBD oils, which are not healing. It's good for pain, it's good for stress, but they're not healing. The stuff that I teach, the breathing along with the CBD oils, will heal the body, right? But now I'm gonna combine the CBD oils with the the CBD oils with the Chinese herbal formulas and Chinese tonic herbs. I've checked it out. It's one Caucasian lady that's doing it, and she's charging like $100 for an ounce. Like literally, I'm not exaggerating. Check it out. You understand? Anything I say, check it out. Don't believe me. So, I'm accepting only 100 people for that level, because we can't keep on bringing in level, because this is going to be a profit sharing thing. 25% of all profits from the seeds, from the seed products, that means seed flour, seed bread, seed, everything that we can make from the seeds, you're going to share in the profits, and everything that we make from the CBD oils, you're going to share profits. I'm not saying what we're going to do in the future. That's going to be something else, you understand? But that's what I'm offering, because that's the first thing that comes from the first grow, is the seeds and the buds. You understand? It's a simple thing. It's not that hard to grow. I mean, cannabis is really, really, amongst all the things, it's like one of the easiest things to grow, actually. But anyway, so that's the deal. So at the top, 100 people, I would like it to be per state. But since this is the first one, it don't matter what state you're in. It stops at 100 people. I will start when we have 25 people. We'll start the process. I won't take any money or anything until we have at least 25 people. And we might decide not to take the rest of the 100 people. I'm just thinking 100 people is not too many, and it's enough to, if everybody put up a couple of dollars, we got a good amount of money to work with. The second level is the people who want to start a business in hemp. That's going to be $40 a month. Now, what that means is, if you say you're a young person and you want to get into the textile business, and you've been looking at the traditional textile business, but we'd be like, well, we're growing our own hemp, and since you're part of our hemp, helping empower melanated people, when you got your business plan ready, we'll try to match you, and we'll get your business started. You understand? Because we'll have the hemp to back whatever it is you do. If you're trying to make clothes, if you're trying to make bricks, or whatever it is, business that you want to start, partner up with us. $40 a month, and by the time you're ready to actually do that, and obviously I'm saying that because I don't have anybody right now, so it's like, we got to build up, you understand? But it's going to happen. It's going to happen. This is like, nobody is doing this. Now the last level is supporter. You know, if you just want to be into it and you don't just want to support, you know, what we're doing and everything, that'll be $9 per month. And with that will come when we start putting out you know, when we start putting out products and all that type of stuff, then you'll get discounts on products. Now, everybody who join will have access. So like I said, one is 5 acres. So 1 acre is going to be growing hemp. 1 acre is going to be growing specialty foods. I'm not even going to get into that. I'm going to be growing foods that's based on the 5 elements that I was just showing you. 1 acre is going to be for the schools and the temple, and we're going to be growing marijuana. The only people that's going to be growing marijuana is the people that are going to be training as either in the Kung Fu or in the temple, in the ancient Kemetic, you know, stuff. Now, the 4th acre will be like a camping, a retreat. You understand? We're going to keep it simple. I'm not worried about trying to build a bunch of buildings and all that type of stuff. You understand? I'm going to do something like this. This can be put up, a big one, where we can hold like 500 people, you know, for events and stuff like that. A big one, it can be put up in a week. It's really simple. It's not rocket science. So I'm not trying to really build a whole lot. It's a retreat. The whole idea is to get away from all the cities and the traffic, you know. It's quiet. Oh my goodness, believe me. It's quiet. You can meditate. We can smoke some herb, do a drum circle, and chill. Anyway, yeah, so that are the 3 levels. Now, the training, like I said, I may start a Zoom class so we can start training. But I wanted to do the whole course. The wall hanging I just showed you, that's going to be one thing where you can change, you know, it'd be pockets and, you know, you can buy that. I didn't show you the book. I'm back. So, I'm going to put the link below. This is the cover of my video, which is QiGong, breathwork for melanin activation. So that's a whole system by itself, kind of combining the science of melanin with the practices, with some of the practices of Kung Fu. Now, the other way I want to raise money is all that stuff I just showed you about the DNA and my Kung Fu. Here's the book. So this is not the whole book. It's just like what you call it. You know, there's a part that I took out of the whole book. I still got to get the whole book together. That's what I'm saying. I'm not ready to do like the whole course in that. That's why I'm doing the hemp first. So in a few months I should have this, but this is $9 also. I just like 9. So order the book and get the science down. You understand? And then if I get enough people who want to do this, we'll start a Zoom class before I you know, worry about making all the videos and stuff like that. Now I think I said already, I already kind of mapped out. You know, this is kind of rough sketch mapping out the retreat part that I mentioned. The retreat on the same land where we'll be growing the hemp. You know, members, y'all can come out there. So see, the cool thing about a retreat is that it don't matter if you live here in L.A. or if you live in New York or if you live in Zimbabwe. You can come to retreat because you're gonna be camping out. You bring your camp, or we got tents for you, whatever. Come there, chill out, learn some breathing, learn some Kung Fu, whatever. And I won't be the only one that teaches. I'll have other teachers coming up and teaching different things that I don't know about. You understand? It don't have to be, oh, it's just me and mine, nobody else. You know, we can have some fun, man. I've been out there. I already got peoples out there. And we've had fun, fire, like I said, fire, drum circle, and all that type of stuff. You understand? And practice some health. Practice health. You hear in the city every day and everything is like, oh God, I gotta go to work. Oh God, I gotta get on a train. Oh God, I gotta drive. Come chill out, man. Let's get this together and have a place to chill out. Now, if this works, we can take this a little further and just get our own land. But that's a whole nother video. So I already kind of mapped out how I'm gonna do it. We're gonna have like marijuana sauna. Ooh, I bet you never heard of that one, a marijuana sauna. I don't even want to tell all my secrets, a cannabis hot tub. Ooh, you understand? The what they call that, what the Indians call it when they go into, they get naked and go into the room and have the smoke come up. Imagine the cannabis, and, well, people might not want to get naked, but what do they call it? The smoke lodge. Ooh. Oh, man, I'm going to do some stuff on this land. We're going to have some fun. But anyway, so, those of you who are interested, I didn't have time. I didn't do this in color. I like to do things in color. But anyway, I'll send you this booklet, which tells you all about the hemp and how the business, how it's a big business now, and And while y'all waiting for somebody to come out the sky, hemp is the real hero. Now, again, all my videos always start out with the cannabis, the marijuana, smoking the pipe and all that type of stuff. That is for your personal freedom. Hemp can literally, make us all free. And I am not just talking about black people, everybody. We need to hemp America. We literally need to hemp America. Hemp is the hero we need, you understand? Now, I'm going to just give you a little bit of the history and then I'm out of here. One of the other reasons that I'm a pusher of hemp is because back in slavery, mostly like in, I think, Tennessee and places like that, George Washington and all these people who had slaves, they were growing hemp. As a matter of fact, it was it was mandatory to grow hemp. It was mandatory for the Navy to use hemp for their sails and ropes and stuff like that. And it was really, back then, it was really difficult to process the hemp. You understand? And again, it probably was a little harder than it is now to grow it, but to process it into sales and all that stuff, all those jobs was given to white, but it was the slaves who actually grew the hemp. So I'm pretty sure they also, while they were in the fields growing hemp, I'm pretty sure the slaves also learned about the Mari-HuAna. But anyway, it's in our history now. Hemp is part of our history. All over America, hemp was the thing. Hemp was the medicine, hemp was the clothes and everything. It wasn't until they made marijuana illegal in the 1930s that they brought hemp along and made it illegal also. And that was because companies like DuPont and all these other companies who wanted to make polyester and all these synthetic clothes, that, they gave the government some money, and then things are illegal until just recently. But now it's wide open. And one of the reasons I'm promoting both the hemp and the marijuana is because my people are up here smoking this stuff every day, all day, for years and years and years. And we don't hardly control none of the money that we're spending. We're fighting to try to get $100,000 $1 million dispensary. Well, I have a church I can grow, and I don't have to have no license to grow. You understand? There are ways to do things. We need to get into this herb spiritually. We need to get into this herb economically, and we need to get into this herb just for not survival, self-sufficiency. This one plant, I'm going to reiterate, this one plant can take care of every need that you spend dollar bills for. You can build a house, you can make clothes, you can make food. What do you work for? 8 hours, 20 hours, 13 hours a day. What? Plant a plant and stop asking the Caucasus Asian to do for you. That's it. I'm out. Peace. No, peace. Wait a button.